Soiled it! Soiled it! Soiled it!
What's happening, everyone? I know I'm mad late to the party, but today we're going to be talking about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2. Because as I mentioned in my first video, I had no intentions of covering every single episode this season, just the ones that made me want to do so because there was a lot of things that I had to say about it. And it's safe to say I have thoughts about this episode, which shouldn't be all that surprising because this is the episode that everyone who played The Last of Us Part 2 has been looking at you show-only fans like,
honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Because this is the fated episode where the club killed Joel. It still hurts, doesn't it? Well, we will get there, but there's a lot more in this episode that I have thoughts on that I want to address first before we get up to that. So let's take it from the top. That being the Battle of Jackson. This is absolutely phenomenal. I love this entire sequence. It is brand new to the show. It is not in the game, and I think it expands on something from the game that I didn't really think about, but it makes total sense that they want to expand on this. You see, in the game, the horde of infected that shows up, they kind of just spawn in to force Abby and Joel together, and then they just kind of disappear. They don't show up again. There's no, attack on Jackson. And if you're someone who has, memorized an encyclopedic memory of The Last of Us Part 2, and you're going to hit me with, well, there's actually a letter in a cupboard in house number B16 that actually says that there was the main story, if you don't read every letter, has no information about these infected. They just show up, they force Abby and Joel together, and then that's it. They just disappear because they're not relevant to the plot. It was just there so that Abby could get her hands on Joel. But in the show, they decided, okay, we should expand on this. So there are cordyceps growing underneath Jackson that attract an army of infected to the city. And I think that was so damn cool. Not just because we got a 1v1 fight between Tommy and a bloater that was sick as hell. I really love all the detail that they put into the bloater in this sequence, and all the infected and the makeup they used for them look absolutely incredible. But I love what this means for Tommy's story. For those of you who haven't played the game, Tommy actually was the one who was with Joel when he got caught by Abby. But now, that's Dina, which I'll talk more about that in a bit. But now that Tommy wasn't with Joel and that he was stuck in Jackson, this is going to evolve into a new different character arc for Tommy. A character arc that I have personally experienced. Well, not the whole zombie apocalypse thing, but I think where they're going with Tommy's story at least, I have an idea of what's going on with him emotionally. And we're going to get a bit dark for a second, so just bear with me, alright? So, my dad passed away 3 years ago now. And before he did, he had gotten very sick. He was going in and out of the hospital constantly. He had dialysis appointments every week at the hospital as well. And he had lost tons of weight, and it was hard for him to walk. It was a whole big mess. But my dad had convinced himself that all he needed to do was just put on some weight and hit the gym, and he'd be back in tip-top shape, which was absolutely absurd. Myself, his doctors, friends, family, everyone could see that's not the case, but he convinced himself of that. And when he passed, I kind of blame myself a little bit. I know it's not my fault now because my dad was a grown man. He made his own decisions. It's not like I could have done anything about it. But in the moment, there was a part of me that thought, well, maybe if I had said this, or maybe if I had done this, it would have changed how things were and he'd still be around and he could have been doing things differently. And I imagine this is what they're planning to do with Tommy's character arc. Because Tommy is a character who has traditionally always been too late to help Joel. In the beginning of The Last of Us, Tommy is the one who saves Joel from the soldier that ends up shooting him and Sarah. However, he was a moment too late there. Sure, Joel is alive, but his niece Sarah died in the process. If he had been a moment faster, then maybe they both would have been alive. And now, at the end of Joel's life, Tommy was nowhere to be found. He wasn't there for his brother. He couldn't make it in time to save him. He was busy doing other things, and now his big bro is dead. I think that would be an amazing thing of having Tommy experience this. I don't think it's survivor's guilt, but there's some form of guilt terminology that's this specifically, feeling like you could have done more, that there's something that you really could and should have done that would have changed things differently. I don't know what it's called. If you're into mental psychology and all that kind of stuff and you know exactly what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments down below. But My point is that Tommy's going to have this kind of guilt inside of him, and he's going to feel like he failed Joel and that he should do more. And I think that works really well given the fact that in the games, what happens is Tommy, after Joel dies, he goes off on his own to hunt down Abby. So I feel like this would work really well in the show of Tommy feeling like he failed Joel, that he always failed Joel, that whenever Joel truly needed him most, he was never there to have his back, and now he's gone, and the only thing that he can do is go and get revenge for him and his new daughter Ellie, while keeping Ellie safe by leaving her behind in Jackson. I think that works phenomenally, and I really hope they expand upon this throughout the rest of the story. Now, as I mentioned, this all is possible because they changed up the situation with who's with Joel when he gets captured by Ellie. And now the person traveling with him is Dina. And I think this works really well because in the games, Dina tags along with Ellie to get revenge against Abby. However, the problem is Dina doesn't really have a reason to be there outside of being Ellie's girlfriend. Like, in the game, their relationship flourishes very quickly, and you're on board with them being together. So when Joel dies, it's kind of just like, well, it's her girlfriend. She's going to go with her girlfriend to go get revenge because she wants to make sure that her girlfriend's okay. And that's enough for the game, but in the show, I like the fact that they expanded upon it more. Dina and Ellie's relationship grows to the point that they're essentially married by the time you get to, like, the final hours of the game and they're raising a child together. So it's basically like Joel and Dina are like father-in-law and daughter-in-law, and we see the two of them bonding and having a really close relationship, and Joel even seeing Dina kind of like his own daughter as well. And I really like that because, again, it's like seeing a father-in-law and daughter-in-law unknowingly bond with each other before they actually get those titles for one another. So having this relationship with Joel gives Dina more of an incentive to want to go with Ellie to go and kill him, because she would have seen Joel as a father just as much as Ellie would, and on top of being Ellie's girlfriend, she'll want to go and hunt down Abby. I think this is a phenomenal change that works very well. Although, I will say, I don't understand why they had to, like, inject Dina with this, like, special knockout serum. Like, just bash her over the head with the pistol like you did Tommy in the video game. Like, I'm not saying I need the violence, but it's just a superfluous change. Like, this is a brutal world. Just punch the bitch out. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Now, hold on. We still have some more things to talk about before we get to Joel's death. Like the fact that I think I understand where they're going with the Eugene plotline in this show. So, Eugene in the show was a character I had completely forgotten from the games. He's apparently the guy that owns the weed cellar that Ellie and Dina hook up in at the beginning of The Last of Us. Thank you for the people in the comments of my first video who reminded me about who Eugene was, because I hadn't started replaying the game at that point in time, and I didn't remember who the guy was. But I think I know what they're doing with this plot line in the show, and I think that Eugene is going to be used to explain how Ellie finds out what happened between Joel and the Fireflies in Seattle, because Eugene was a Firefly. And there's a conversation between Ellie and Jesse in the show where Ellie looks like horrified when Jesse starts talking about Eugene. And I think what's going to happen is that Eugene somehow is going to find out what Joel did to the Fireflies in Salt Lake City. And Joel is going to kill him for it. But Ellie is going to find out what Joel did and know that he killed Eugene, and the two of them are going to cover it up, and this is what's going to cause the huge fracture in their relationship. Because now, not only on top of the fact that Joel broke Ellie's trust, which is the whole crux of what ruined their relationship in the game, now she's covering up Eugene's death because she doesn't want Joel to be executed. I think that's going to be a really cool storyline. Obviously, this is all just a theory. A film!
Move this man!
I'm sorry, okay? Please don't unsubscribe. But my terrible joke aside, this is all just a theory, and I have no idea if this is how the story is going to pan out because, you know, the entire season isn't out right now. But that's where I think they're going with this, especially with Gail's wife.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Eugene's wife is Gail. I meant to say Eugene's wife. Anyway, with the introduction of Gail as a character being so prominent in the show, I believe that they're going to explore this and that eventually we're going to get to that point of the story. But who knows? I might be wrong, and then Eugene might never show up again for the rest of the show, and we'll see. Now, with all that being said, there is one last thing that I want to talk about before we actually get to Joel's death, and that is Abby and her crew. I both love and hate what they're doing with these people. So, in regards to Abby's crew, I love everything they're doing with them. You see, in the game, Abby's crew are just played as, like, evil people that you want to kill, when they first show up, they're a bunch of dickheads and they're extremely violent and they're 100% on board with Abby killing Joel in the most gruesome way possible. And that makes you hate them because you're supposed to hunt them down throughout the course of the game. But then midway through the game, when you learn about Abby's story, it's supposed to recontextualize everything and make you, feel bad for killing them. But even after I learned everything that Abby and all of them had been through, I still didn't give a fuck. I hated every last one of them. The only one that I even had a shred of empathy for was Mel. And that's not because she was a likable character and I felt bad that I had to kill her. No, it's because she was pregnant. I felt bad because she died while pregnant. I didn't care about Ellie beating her to death. Well, I don't remember if that's exactly how it happened. I'm not up to that part in the game yet. But, I don't care that she died. My point is that her as a character still sucked. She was still complicit in Joel's death. The only reason I felt sad is because she had an unborn child with her. That was the only thing that I cared about. I don't care about the rest of these people. But in the show, I actually do like them, and I feel like I will feel bad when Ellie eventually kills them, because frame one, all of them are like,
I don't really want this.
we don't want to do this. We don't want to kill Joel. This is just a guy. We don't need to go on this revenge quest, Abby. This is not that important. Meanwhile, Abby is just full-on crazy and is like, nah, we gotta kill him. We're gonna go and kill Joel. This is what we have to do. And I respect the fact that even when they find out that Jackson is a fortress, they're like, okay, yeah, Abby, we're gonna kill Joel, just to calm her down and get her to leave the room. They're like, yeah, no, we're not fucking doing that. You fucking crazy. Do you see that place? We're not doing this. So I really like the fact that that is what they're going for with them, because it makes them feel more like good people who did nothing. See, a long time ago, I had a Holocaust survivor have a speech at my school, and he talked about the fact that the reason why World War II was able to get so bad is because it was a culmination of good people doing nothing. When good people do nothing, it allows evil to thrive. And that's exactly what's happening here with these characters. Owen and the rest of them are all good people that know Abby going to kill Joel is wrong and stupid, but they're also complicit in allowing it to happen. So now, Joel's dead and Ellie goes and kills all of them. So, yeah, sure, they were good people, but they did nothing, and that allowed for evil to thrive. So, I think that works really well for their character. However, on the flip side of things, I really don't like Abby in the show. Now, here's the thing. I'm not one of the people who hated Abby in the video game. I hated Abby as in the sense that, I wanted to kill her for killing Joel. But in the confines of the game as a person, I don't hate Abby as a character. But in the show, I do, because they took away all the humanity that Abby had in the game. When we first meet Abby in the game, we don't know that she wants to kill Joel. She's just a person. We see her wake up in the lodge with all of her crew. She goes on a morning walk with Owen. They're shooting the shit. We learn cute, quirky things about her, like she's got a fear of heights. But they introduce Abby as a person, and we actually get to meet her and view her as a good individual until we learn she wants to kill Joel. And we're like,
Oh no, gringe.
and then we get the switch to hating her, and then we learn more about her story, and we come to the justification as to why she killed Joel, and blah, 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 blah. But the problem with this is that from the first scene that she's in up until her killing Joel, she is just nothing but murder, death, murder, kill, Joel, must die, for revenge, for father, all the fucking time. And it's just like, why would you do this? Why would you not want her to have a shred of humanity that would make people, even on the slightest level, like her? I'm aware that fans of the game generally do not like the character of Abby. And if they're planning on changing the ending of the show and having Abby die, and that's why they're just making her as unlikable as possible, I understand. But if that's not the case, then why are you taking away all of the elements that would make people like Abby? They were there at the beginning of the game, so why are you taking them away now? It doesn't really make any sense to me. All that being said, I have talked around it enough. It is time to actually address the death of dear old Joel Miller here. And I think for the most part, this scene is done really well. They have some additions in this scene that weren't in the game that I think work really well, and then there's some things that I'm like, okay, you guys changed it, but I don't really think this works so well. One of the changes they did that I thought was positive is Joel admitting that he was in Salt Lake City with the dead Fireflies. Because in the game, Joel doesn't really confess that he did anything. He's just like a stoic, hardened badass and goes out as such. But in the show, because Dina's life is at risk, he responds to Abby and admits that he was in Salt Lake City where all the Fireflies died.
Salt Lake.
And I think that was really cool. It was a nice moment, and I loved seeing Joel just like glance over at Dina before revealing everything because he doesn't want her to get injured. That was super cool. I love the fact that Owen and Abby's friends all tell Abby to stop because she's going too far in the show, as opposed to in the game where they tell Abby to stop torturing Joel because Ellie showed up. In the game, Ellie shows up and they're like, damn, we're probably going to get caught by more people from Jackson if we keep staying here, letting her torture Joel, so we got to wrap this up and get out of here. That's why they stop in the game, which again goes to the whole thing of them being more unlikable in the game than they are in the show. But in the show, as Abby is just tearing into Joel, all of them are standing there like,
Jesus Christ.
because they're like, okay, no, I don't like this. I don't want to be here. Can she stop? And when Owen steps in to stop her, it's more from the sense of, you're going way too far. Reel it in, crazy bitch. And I respect that. I really like that they went with that angle because, again, it really works to the whole good people who did nothing kind of thing. But back on the flip side of things, I don't like the fact that Abby has an entire monologue with Joel. I feel like that was really stupid and unnecessary. Because in the game, when she shows up, Joel just goes,
Why don't you say whatever speech you got rehearsed? Get this over with.
and like things are wrapped up pretty short and she starts torturing him. In the show, she starts having this long-winded monologue that goes through everything, and then Joel tells her to
Just shut the fuck up and do it already.
And it's like, bro, she already finished the monologue. Like, bitch was out here on her syndrome shit, going through this whole villain monologue, and then you decided to stop her after it was done. What was the point of that? It's already over. She gave you all the vital information. This doesn't change anything. But of course, then we have to address Ellie. Ellie shows up during Joel's execution and she watches him die in front of her. I think that Bella Ramsey did a solid job displaying the sorrow of Ellie losing Joel, but there is something that I felt was drastically missing from this scene. In the game, when Ellie shows up and finds Joel dying, every emotion in the book is flooding through her between like empathy, sadness, pleading. Like she's going through all the stages of depression or whatever. Like what is it? Like the 7 stages of like depression that results in you like accepting something or whatever. I don't know what the hell that like program or whatever is called, but like you know what I mean? Like all of the stages of emotional turmoil that someone goes through. But like the big thing that was a selling point in the game is that Ellie is losing her fucking shit. She is feral in that scene, talking about how she's gonna murder Abby and every single one of her friends. And that works really well because, yeah, that's Ellie. She would totally do that. And in the game, the reason why they pinned her down is because they know if they let her go even for the slightest second, if they loosen their grip even a little bit, she will break free and start tearing them all apart like nobody's business.
Pin her down! Get off me! Get her hand! Get the fuck off me!
You got her! Look, you got her! Okay?
You're gonna fucking die!
And that is just not reflected in the show. She is more like a helpless child than she is a grown woman that is like, if you let me go, I'm gonna kill every last one of you. And I really feel like that was lacking from the show, and it plays into how they're writing Ellie in this show. They're still writing Bella Ramsey's interpretation of Ellie like a kid that is dealing with all of the shit that adult Ellie was dealing with in part 2, as opposed to having her be adult Ellie dealing with adult Ellie things. You know what I mean? But she still gave a great performance here, and I love the little added bit where after Joel dies, Ellie crawls over to Joel's body. Although I do like it, I will say I wish they just tweaked it just ever so slightly. Because as I mentioned, in the game, they pinned down Ellie so that she wouldn't be able to go and kill them as they were executing Joel. But they knock Ellie out after that happens so they can all escape without Ellie getting up and then slaughtering all of them, because again, that would have totally happened. In the show, they just kind of leave Ellie, and I was just like, are you not gonna like try and kill them? Like, you're not gonna get up and like try and kill them? You're not gonna like pick up a weapon, chase after them? Now you're gonna try and take one out? Really? We just letting them walk away? I understand they like kicked Ellie in the stomach a couple of times, but like, really? That's gonna stop you? Seriously, you fight infected and grown men all the time, yet a kick to the gut is gonna stop you from chasing after the people that just murdered your father? Really, Ellie? But I do love the scene of her crawling over to Joel's dead body. I think that's really wholesome and sad. But quick question, why did y'all change it from Joel getting his skull caved in to Joel getting stabbed in the neck with a golf club? It just doesn't have the same impact, in my opinion. That's just how it is. Like, in the game, we have this really cool shot where Abby bashes in Joel's skull, and we see, like, his brain matter on the golf club. But in the game, Abby just, like, picks up the broken golf club because apparently she was beating Joel with it to the point that it snapped in half, and then she just stabs him in the neck, but, like, it doesn't have any impact because a character being stabbed in the neck, it's impactful when the person is, like, alive and full of energy because they'll, like, grab the neck and be like, you know, because, you know, they're, like, trying to stop the blood from coming out, but at this point, Joel is, like, a dying animal, so when she stabs him in the neck, he just has no reaction. It's just kind of like... I was like, oh, okay. Cool. You know, I don't know why they changed it. It's an unnecessary, superfluous change. It's like the same thing with Dina being knocked out with, like, a special serum. Like, why are we dialing back the violence? This is an extremely violent world. What's the point of hiding it? We saw in the previous season a grown man murder his child little brother that got infected with the zombie virus. Like, really? We can't see a skull get caved in and a girl get knocked out with a pistol? Like, what is this weird censorship that we've got going on here? But it is what it is. At the end of the day, I think this is probably one of the best, if not the best episode of The Last of Us so far, and I think it's handled really well. Sure, I've got my gripes with it, but I think it was good in the grand scheme of things. So I'm hoping to keep up this energy, and episode 3 ends up being really good as well. So with all that being said, I'm the Innocent Villain. Remember, folks, you're innocent to prove villainous, and we'll see if I end up talking about episode 3. I'm going to go check it out after this. Peace!